What's good, people? It is your boy Jay, the actor, aka Mr. J Weeks ENT himself, here with another episode of Monologue Monday, where we take the time to dig just a little bit further into the various components of a monologue. Today's topic is objective. Objective? Objective. An objective is defined as what does your character want? What is their goal? What do they hope to obtain? Now, objective can be very tricky for some because a lot of people try to go for what I like to call the low-hanging fruit, right? The immediately what your monologue gives you. So let's take the example of you have a monologue, and throughout the whole monologue, your characters is yelling, they are upset, and they're just, going off the handles. The easier thing that people will say as an objective is, oh, you want to tell, your scene partner or whoever they're talking to that you're mad, right? And they go for the emotions and they're like, yep, that's exactly what the objective is. But I always say those can be a weakness and not really a strong foundation for an objective because we all know that emotions can be subjective to the individual. And let's just say that for the sake of our conversation, that is the objective you go with. Now that you've shown your character, your scene partners or whoever's in the scene with you, that you're angry. Okay, now what happens now that the world knows that you're angry? Okay, they know you're angry, but there's no real substance there. So you have to dig a little bit further than just trying to go for the emotions and what the script gives you. You have to dig a little bit deeper. And in order to get that, you're not going to get that by reading your monologue or script 3, 4, 5 times. It's like 20, 30, 40 times you're going to have to read and really break down. So let's try to dig a little bit deeper. Let's say you are a male character trying to confess your love to a young lady that happens to be in a relationship. And that's your monologue, right? Again, if we take the example of the easier thing, you just want to confess your love, right? That's my objective, to tell my love. But again, what happens when you tell that love? Nothing. So let's take it a step further. Maybe your objective is to get the girl. Now, if your objective is to get the girl, the way you say it is not just going to present it in any manner. You're not going to say the monologue any kind of way. Because now you have a goal, something at stake, something that you have to obtain. Because your objective has to be something that the character must obtain, right? So if now my objective is to get the girl, I'm going to present it in a certain way. I'm not going to say it any kind of way. I may try to deepen my voice. I may try to slow down what I'm talking about, make it more serious, and make sure I look her in the eye. There's things that you're going to do. Now, the flip side of that is, let's look at if you obtain your goal, what happens? And the other part of that is, what if you don't obtain your goal? So let's just say, for the sake of conversation, you're the guy who's trying to confess your love to a girl who's already in a relationship. You get your goal. You get the girl. She loves what you're saying. She breaks up with her boyfriend, chooses you. Y'all move on and have a wonderful life. That's the positive side of getting your goal or your objective. The flip side of that is she ain't feeling what you're saying. She don't like you. Now she tell her boyfriend. Now the boyfriend's looking for you. Now everywhere you go, you're looking over your shoulder because now you have someone looking to fight you. All because you didn't get your goal. So if you take that approach, the way you go about your monologue is going to be much different because now you've heightened the stakes. And that's something that you want to look at with your monologue of choosing an objective. You have to heighten it to bring more awareness to it, that it's more serious, that it has a reason for you to make sure you get your goal. So by heightening it, now when I present it as the guy who's trying to confess his love to this young lady, I'm not just going to say it any kind of way. I have to make sure I get the girl. And I have to make sure that she's feeling what I'm saying and chooses me and not tell her boyfriend, and now we got an issue. So just by simply heightening what you're saying and giving it more at stake, it makes it much more obtainable for you because now you have something to aim for. Because when we're trying to get things for people, we're going to present it in the best manner to get the best results. No different than when you're doing it within the script. So you want to make sure that you heighten that. So once you're able to do that, you're able to go about it a different way. So you have to make sure as you approach what is your objective, you have to look at the script, read it, look beyond just what's given to you in the script, but also give it something that your character must obtain. You can look at the behaviors, the dialogue they're talking about, but think to yourself, what does this all mean? What do they ultimately want? And once you're able to do that, it will help you to find that objective. But as I come to a close, there is an opposite of that. Because in addition to having your objective, there is an obstacle, which we will talk about next week. So make sure y'all come back next week so we can finish this, so you can find out what I mean by an obstacle. So we definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hopefully you're able to take something away from today's episode. If you didn't, just come back next week. Maybe we'll bring something that you can take away. But we definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at jweeks_ENT, on our website, jweeksentertainment.com. And as always, thank y'all for supporting the arts. Tune in next week for a very new episode of Monologue Monday.